reservations.
I call the honourable member Nikki Kay.
Mr Speaker, I am very pleased to speak today at the third reading of the Callaghan Innovation Bill. I would like to acknowledge again Sir Paul Callaghan, who this institute is named after. I would also like to acknowledge members of the Education and Science Select Committee. I do believe that we worked in a collaborative process throughout the committee. We did have a tight time frame to turn this bill around, but I was very pleased that we made a huge effort as a committee to not only write to stakeholders, but also provide a very lengthy commentary. I think it is pleasing that nearly all of the submitters supported this legislation. I also want to acknowledge that this is part of our wider plan and agenda to ensure that New Zealand stays ahead of our global competition. The bill helps to unlock the world-class potential of our scientists and help them plug them into businesses in the global marketplace. But the major purpose is to ensure that we get the best ideas out of the lab and into the marketplace more quickly. It will have operations in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. The reason for this is that these are clusters. They are close to clusters of likely business clients, making them as accessible as possible, especially to smaller firms. I want to also acknowledge the general approach of the Select Committee. As has already been said by a number of members, we decided purposely not to take an overly prescriptive approach. The reason for that was to give the Institute the maximum ability to have not only move with technology, but also not be overly prescriptive in terms of the people that it appoints to the organisation. A point that I would like to raise in this third reading is that collaboration was a very important point raised by a number of submitters. So Callaghan Innovation will exist within a flexible framework that will encourage innovation but also collaboration. We all know that silos in the past have existed, and that leads to greater compliance costs and time wasted for business. A key feature of Callaghan Innovation is to foster better connections between innovation expertise and facilities that will already exist within Callaghan Innovation, but additionally to link up Callaghan Innovation with New Zealand CRIs, polytechnics and other research organisations. During the Select Committee process, we made a key change to the legislation to strengthen that collaboration. I think it is important to also acknowledge the dual function of the Callaghan Innovation. The first function will be to fulfil a range of things such as helping build industry-led innovation consortia, acting as a portal through which businesses can access appropriate R&D and technical expertise, being a gateway to firms to access business R&D grants and commercialisation support, and also fostering the mobility of experts, for example, by sponsoring secondments between universities. Developing links with international research organisations to ensure local firms can connect with worldwide experience. The second key role of the Callaghan Innovation is also to be a service provider. That is going to be offering businesses technology testing, applied R&D work on a contractual basis, business development, technology and knowledge transfer. I want to briefly finish with some of the Select Committee changes. As I have already mentioned, there was a key change in terms of strengthening collaboration in the bill. We also made a change around the term net benefit to be clear that the Callaghan Innovation must operate for the benefit of New Zealand. And then thirdly, a number of issues were raised regarding the Establishment Board. And I think it is very important at this point to acknowledge that the Select Committee did a lengthy commentary around the internal framework for research capacity. We outlined the issues that have been raised as a result of submitters. The Government has appointed a 7-member Establishment Board. The Establishment Board will play a critical role in making not only initial decisions such as staffing requirements, but also the exact location of the innovation centres in Auckland, Hutt Valley and Christchurch. I think it is also important to note that this legislative framework must have funding, and that's why in 2012 our budget delivered $250 million of new operating funding and $76.1 million in capital funding for science, innovation and research. This reflects our belief that science and technological innovation are major drivers of growth. I think it is also important to acknowledge that we are now spending $1.24 billion, which is a 17% increase over the last 4 years in direct cross-portfolio funding for science and innovation. $166 million is going towards Callaghan Innovation. That's a huge amount of money. In summary, Mr Speaker, I'm very pleased to have chaired the Select Committee on this bill. I believe that Callaghan Innovation will help firms from a range of backgrounds be more competitive, grow faster, and connect them with the scientific support that they need to develop and commercialise their ideas for the betterment of our country. That is good in terms of ensuring that New Zealanders have a higher standard of living. Callaghan Innovation will support firms at different stages of development, be they start-ups to established research and development firms. Our government wants to see more Kiwi businesses succeeding. We want to create a bridge between business, science, engineering and design. We want to help our world-class scientists and businesses turn their great ideas into valuable products, more jobs and higher incomes for Kiwis. I want to finish by thanking the members of the Education and Science Select Committee for their swift consideration of this very important bill. I feel privileged to be part of a process that will help see Callaghan Innovation up and running in early 2013. I want to acknowledge the man that this is named after, because I do believe that this institute will be a great thing for New Zealand. Thank you.
Thank you. I call the Honourable Member Grant Robertson.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. And